There is no hood like parenthood. Hi, I'm Kanika Chadda Gupta. I'm a former CNN journalist, mom of 3, including twins, and host of That's Total Mom Sense, the podcast. Now, if I had $1 every time I heard, gee, you have your hands full. On my show, I interview change makers on their life lessons, legacy, and superpower of intuition, which I call our Mom Sense and Dad Sense. I've had the privilege of working with Mom 2.0, March of Dimes, and the White House, and have had some pretty amazing parents on my show.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kelly Rowland.
Hi, this is Chelsea Clinton.
It's me, Bobby Brown. Can't wait to share my story.
That's Total Mom Sense is a production of the Evergreen Podcast Network. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. To join my tribe, visit that'stotalmomsense.com and follow me on Instagram at Kanika Chadda Gupta. Now let's dive into today's episode. To celebrate Breastfeeding Awareness Month, and with this summer heat, this episode is brought to you by First Water by Aquilay, the first naturally mineral-rich, never-filtered bottled water in the U.S. that's certified safe for infants under 6 months when mixed with formula. Founded by a mom of 3, Aiste Minute, First Water follows European postpartum practices where nursing water is essential. As many new moms know, breastfeeding uses up to 25% of the body's energy, and staying hydrated is critical. But most bottled waters are filtered or purified, stripping away the very electrolytes and minerals your body needs to recover and thrive. First Water is different. Sourced from a unique spring, it retains its natural magnesium, calcium, and electrolytes, has a natural pH of 8, and contains absolutely 0 nitrates or nitrites. That means it supports faster hydration, better oxygen absorption, digestion, and overall wellness for moms, babies, and the entire family. Whether you're mixing formula, nursing around the clock, or simply looking for cleaner hydration, First Water is setting a new gold standard in maternal and infant wellness in the U.S. Learn more at getfirstwater.com. That's spelled get, the number 1, ST, water.com. Because your baby's first water should be the best. Today, I have something very special cooking on the show. It's a guest who has joined me in person from LA. Her name is Ellen Marie Bennett, and she is the founder and chief branding officer of Hedley Bennett. She is the face of Kitchen Glow Up and author of the book Dream First, Details Later. Ellen, thank you so much for joining me on That's Total Mom Sense today.
Oh my gosh, 100%. We made it happen. And it's dumping rain outside.
I know. It is torrential, and we made this happen. And I know you mentioned this in the book that like the in-person meetings, you really have to make them count.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's
so important.
So let's dive in to your childhood straight away. I love to set the stage, and you've had such a colorful upbringing. Your Mexican mom who called you mommy, and your British father. So I'm going to call this little segment Chicana and Crumpets.
Wow.
We're opening with that. So tell us what that was like. Oh my goodness, how fun.
It was honestly really cool. I loved seeing polar opposites in my life since I was tiny, right? Imagine I'm like running around the streets of Mexico barefoot, playing soccer, eating tortillas, going to the street corner, getting a refillable bottle of Sprite because they used to give you the bottle, you drink it, and then you'd return it, and then they'd give you a new one. It was like
that
OG
happened in India
recycling.
Too. Yes, yeah.
That was my life over there. And then in the States, which is where I lived full time, it was a whole other world where there were Great Danes at my grandfather's house, and we would have Walker's cookies, and it was a whole vibe. I loved both. I loved eating shepherd's pie, but I also loved eating tacos. And I think for me, I kind of realized early on, like, oh, wow, there's totally different worlds out there. So my little backyard is not the only thing that exists.
Yes.
It gave me perspective as a little kid, which I think is really valuable.
Totally. And I wanted you to, I know we're going heavy here.
No, yeah.
But talk about what it was like when your parents decided to separate, you know, because kids are going through that and parents are going through that. And how do we make it as harmonious as possible?
Yeah, it was definitely not harmonious. I think that it was a really formative part of my childhood because I was 9 and I'd had enough time with my dad, whereas my sister was only 3. So it really affected us in very different ways. And I think I was very upset towards her because I had to kind of raise her after that, right? She became my daughter. It wasn't just like, this is your sister. It's like, no, you're now going to help your mom by becoming her husband in a way.
Yes.
And you're going to take on this little kid. I feel like up until a few months ago, my sister and I had this like really beautiful moment where we connected at a level that we had never really shared how upsetting it was from each perspective.
Right.
And I was upset that she was my responsibility, and she was upset that I didn't realize how abandoned she felt. So that was like a major moment and breakthrough, and we have such a better relationship than we have ever had. But it took, like, I'm 37 and she's 30.
Yes,
so it's like we lived a lot of life before it came to that conclusion and that little like closure.
Right.
So for people out there that are having a divorce, it's like, have those hard conversations early on with your children and with yourself, and just like deal with what you've got in front of you, because it doesn't go away. It just gets parked somewhere until you actually go and open that box and stare at it and say, let me confront this. Like, let me actually look at what happened. And only then does it go away.
Yeah.
And I feel like it erased because I was able to look at it for what it was and not like a misconstrued version of my reality.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel you so deeply, which is why I'm like choked up. I have a sister who's 6.5 years younger too. And though my parents stayed together, there was a lot of reasons why I'm still surprised to this
that it's
day.
still happening.
Yes. And a lot of immigrant families do that.
Yeah.
And I raised her too. And I think, like, I remember, running home from school and then changing the diaper, testing the bottle on my wrist. Like, and it's like, I'm, 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're
So
like, I want to go and I want to, air quotes, hang out. I want to go to the mall and do these things that regular kids are doing. And later on, I realized that was so valuable that I actually learned how to do all those things at a young age, because it really helped me become kind of like an entrepreneur.
Totally.
But when you're 9, you're like, I just want to go to the mall. I just want to hang out like these other kids are.
Yes. No, and I mean, you're so nurturing. I love that, you would make her the poppy seed grilled cheese that you dip in the milk. And it's so cute how, as an older sister, you were very maternal. It definitely is helpful when you are in the parenthood stage of life, like to be intuitive to what they need and what they want.
I mean, I think we were able to have that conversation, obviously, because we both matured a lot.
Yeah.
And I have a tremendous amount of respect for her as a human now, which I think for a long time I thought about her as a little sister.
Yeah.
But once I had my own kids, I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they totally like kick my ass. And it's the greatest, hardest job I've ever had, as I know every parent says, but like it's true. I mean, I've run a company for a long time, and this is much harder. I'm like, whoa. But now I just, I think about her differently, and I think about my mom differently, because I'm like, wow, that was the weight that each one of us was carrying. Like, it wasn't just us being kids and us getting mad at each other. My mother had to experience that. I'm looking at it from my mother's perspective now. It's like I just kind of got out of my seat and looked at it from everyone else's seat and realized, wow, the world does not revolve around you, Ellen. Like, you've got all these other people that were affected in all these different ways. Yeah. And so it's humbled me towards parenting and parenthood and parents in general. Just the weight that we carry on our shoulders every day, and the commitment that we made by having these little children. And you got to like protect and love them, but you also got to let them ride and figure it out. And so much.
It's so much. And then like leading by example, it's like you can't be hypocritical. If they can't do something, then you can't do something. So I am so with you. Now tell us about like, growing up and going to Mexico, because I feel like that is so value induced, and it shapes your way of the world. And so like what you picked up living there, and I relate to this too, because I'd visit India every year ever since I was 5 through the end of high school, and just, seeing young kids who had absolutely nothing in abject poverty, living in slums and shanties, playing with sticks and any ball they could find. I was like, we have it so good in the U.S.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
So, yeah, it just reshapes and reframes how you show up in the world. How did that manifest for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly like that. I would go from we weren't rich by any means. We were just sort of a standard blue-collar family. But I would go to Mexico, and they literally had dirt floors in their homes, in some of our friends' homes. And then there were other people that had nicer homes. But all in all, there was a happiness level that was significantly higher than in LA.
Yes.
And I was like, what is this? They're just warmer and kinder and welcoming. And it doesn't really matter if you have a lot of money. You're just going to get invited to dinner. And I would frequently go to my friends' houses that didn't have floors, that just had a table on the ground. And the walls were made out of wood planks. Yeah. And you could see through the planks. It was
oh my gosh,
outdoors through the wall.
Yeah.
And I didn't think twice about that. I was just like, I'm going to Annalie's house.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to go over there. I'm going to go say hi to my other friend, and I'm excited to play with them. And I just remember them always washing their clothes by hand, and then everyone would hang their clothes. My grandma would do the same thing, my abuelita.
Yeah.
But that was regular, and it was standard, and it was normal, and it was okay. And I just loved the simplicity of it. And so I grew up with this mentality of focus on what you have and not what you don't have. And I feel like that just translated into business and the way I approach stuff, because I can always make something out of nothing. I have that gift because I grew up watching my aunts and uncles and everyone create a life out of nothing. And so at my abuelita's house, all of my aunts and uncles lived together, and then one by one they got married, they went to college. They each helped each other get through college. They were the first generation in their family to go to college. Okay. And one of them worked as a housekeeper to get the first one into college. Then the first one went to college, then would help the next one get into college. And all 6 of them did that together. And it was just like watching them become engineers, and my mom became a nurse. That was so special, watching that firsthand and realizing you have what you have right in front of you, and that's what you got to focus on. Don't focus on what your neighbors have or what the other people have. Like, you've got what you've got, and it's in you. And this Latin culture that I have pumping through my veins is one of the greatest gifts I've ever gotten, because I can take that anywhere. If tomorrow I lose it all, I will go and build something else, because I have that special sauce of fuck yes, I will keep trying. And if something goes south, I'm going to try again. Yes. And it doesn't mean I don't get hurt. It doesn't mean I don't feel things, but I simply know how much lower you can go.
Right. Now let's talk about the birth of a brand. How did you get that idea for Hedley and Bennett? Because even that was a circuitous route, and you use your chutzpah and your scrappiness, and you made it happen. But take us back to that moment.
I mean, I grew up with this Mexican smash up and English smash up. And then, around 15, 16, I realized, like, I really want to do food. And so when I turned 18, I moved to Mexico City for a month, and I stayed for 4 years. And it was a really important part of me finding my way in this, like, windy road. And everyone has a windy road, whether they admit it or not. But, at least in my windy, weird journey, I was making decisions that I was making versus following everyone else's path. I felt like sometimes I had a machete in my hand, and I was just going through the forest. And I choosing which path to take with no one else around to tell me go left or go right. But having arrived there and landing with nothing but myself and my one bag was just, again, one of those notches on my confidence belt that I talk about in my book. It was like, okay, if I can do this, I can do other things. And while living there, I got all these kooky jobs, all while trying to fund my way towards food. So I had my goal. I had my little mountaintop, which said food. But I didn't know what the food was going to be. I knew it was going to maybe be cooking or a restaurant or some version of that. So I paid my way through school in Mexico, which was cheaper than the US. So that was like, okay, boom, I got that done. I became a Mexican citizen so that I could do it not like a foreigner, but as a Mexican woman, right? I signed up to pay taxes. Like I did all the things so that I could be there properly. And that was really hard. And I ran into so many obstacles that were so insane. Like I rarely talk about this, but I had this building that I rented a place in, and the landlord like ran off with everyone's money because everybody would pay him cash.
Oh, shit.
And so it was just little, but back then it felt huge.
Yeah.
So he took everyone's money.
Happening.
Yeah. And you're just like, how am I going to survive this? Like, or, oh, there's this huge job, the biggest job you've ever booked, but I have already booked another job that same day. But I don't want to fail these people, so I'm going to let go of this like 30,000 peso job that will pay my rent for 2 months. These things that you're just living on your own, going through, being like, is anyone out here? Can I make it through? And now I look back at those moments, and I was on the ground in my head, but really I was just earning and learning all this amazing experience. And so for parents, moms, entrepreneurs, if you're out there, like, these things that are happening are amazing for you.
Yes.
Think about it as like, I get to experience this. If you think about it as a tragedy, it will be a tragedy. But if you think about it as an opportunity, like, it's an opportunity because you got that grit. Yes. Like, you earned that grit. You got that war wound. You got that gray hair.
Yes.
You got that wrinkle.
Right.
You earned that fucking wrinkle.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And then just embrace it and learn from it. You have this quote that Churchill said in the book, don't let any crisis go to waste.
Yes.
So any like situation where you're like FML, turn it around and be like, I needed this to get here.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And by the way, it's not like it just comes down out of the clouds and like, here's the solution. Many times when I've been in a crisis, I have to find people around me to say, hey, give me perspective. This is what's happening to me. It's when I'm siloed and by myself in silence that I can't come up with the answers. I have to like talk about it and get out of my head, go out for a walk, look around, like get out of your own way to get help.
Yes.
Right? Don't expect it to just magically land on your plate. Like, you know, they say it takes a village to raise kids. Like, it takes a village to live life. You have people around you that need to lift you up and push you along the way. And I've always done that. I've been a big collaborator. Right. So when I went through all that crazy journey in Mexico, I did all this stuff. I announced the lottery. I lived the whole life out there. I mean, it was a wild time. It was 4 years of the most ridiculous jobs you've ever heard of. Yeah. But it led me to this place where I graduated school. I was able to get there in my own windy way. And I came back to the States as like a new woman with my sea legs under me, with a clear direction of this is my path, and my path is going to be food. And then I got a job at Providence, and then I started Hedley Bennett there. And that is such a windy spaghetti ball of an adventure, but it was the exact adventure I needed to be on for Hedley and Bennett.
Yes, yes. I mean, one thing about you is really your grit and your tenacity and your confidence. You say like confidence can be learned. When it was Chef Joseph who told you that like, oh, you know, there's some vendor, we need aprons from her. I don't know if it's going to get there on time. Like, you didn't have a business plan or an idea or a logo or LLC. You were like, I can make the aprons. I'm going to make the aprons. And you made 40 aprons, you know? And it's like somehow you put the confidence before everything else and just found a way to get it done.
And because I leaped and made the leap and somehow landed the leap, quasi-landed it, it made me feel the excitement and the enthusiasm of this is real. I can do this. I want to feel that feeling again.
Yes.
And again and again. And I just kept showing up to farmers markets and showing up to places where other chefs were so that I could replicate that feeling, that excitement and adrenaline of, oh my God, I got somebody to let me outfit them and let me outfit their restaurant. And I had a bigger purpose. Like, my purpose was make people look and feel amazing in the kitchen, make them truly feel confident. And I think it probably comes a little bit from me too. Like I felt a little bit like a fish out of water in a professional kitchen. Like I had finally made it to this place where I was working professionally as a cook, but I was making $10 an hour. Our uniforms were terrible. Everybody looked and felt shitty. And I wanted to fix that for all of us. And so when you do something that's got some soul behind it, I think other people see that and they're like, whoa, this is not just an apron. This is actually like, it means something.
Yes.
And so now when people wear our aprons, it's like, hey, you're a part of this thing. It's a tribe. It's a village of people that give a shit and they care about the details. And my favorite compliment literally in the world is when people say, if I go to a restaurant, they're wearing Hedley and Bennett. Like I know it's a sign of a good restaurant because they care about that. And that's so beautiful and special. 13 years in, it's over 13-year overnight success, as I like to say. I'm like, oh my God, if I showed you the war wounds.
Well, you have so much life left. Like you're just getting started. Tell us about the craftsmanship and the variety of aprons from bistro to break it down.
For whoever's listening, you're like, aprons? What are we talking about? Like, aprons. Aprons now, kitchen gear, knives, cutting boards, etc. We call ourselves a culinary brand now. It's not even just an apron company. I started in the same way the restaurant was. It was all about super high quality material. We're going to use the best. Yeah. If people are using plastic, we're going to use metal. If people are using polyester, we're going to use salvage denim from Japan. Like I just went for super elite materials. Yes. And then I got all this input from chefs. They were my test bunnies, like my guinea pigs, and I would go and talk to them and listen. Getting someone's needs and wants super clearly listed out. It's the greatest thing you can do when you're starting a business. Like, don't invent it. Go ask the person that needs the solution. Yes. And then give them that solution and then give them more than what they're expecting. For me, it was just thrilling navigating, making something basic into something so much better. Yes. And that taps into my youth. Like thinking about take what you have and only focus on what you've got and then make something better out of it. Out of it. Yeah. So it's like being resourceful.
Right. Yeah. And break down how they're tied, how there's a place for the pens and explain.
Totally. We now have, over 300 aprons. Like if you go to Hedley and Bennett's website. Amazing. It's an insane collection and we have all kinds of crazy collaborations that are super beautiful. But the core product, every single one is made with straps that are made from this beautiful American-made webbing. Mm-hmm. All the material has been tested multiple times. We have a lifetime guarantee on the material. Everything has been shaped by chefs. So the cut, the fit, there's like 5 different styles. And whether you're tall or short, whatever shape you are, we have an apron that will fit you. If you're feminine, if you want it to be a little bit more masculine, like we have all of the styles. And we're not talking about cute aprons here. We do have some cute aprons. Right. But we have really legit sturdy aprons that people bought from me at the farmer's market 12 years ago that they still have.
Have. Wow.
And so if you watch Top Chef or Food Network or The Bear, we're on all those shows. You'll just look out for the little red patch on the top right of the pocket. You see a little and symbol, and that's the Hedley and Bennett logo. So if you know, you know.
What are things that, for those of us who are not Michelin starred chefs, need to look for, to have in our kitchen, the staples that it's like, okay, actually Hedley and Bennett does do this and we got you.
Oh, totally. So after outfitting, more than 7,000 restaurants in the U.S., I was like, you know what? We need to go for the home cook. They need us too. We can take our professional grade material and take it to the home.
Yes.
And not alter it, not change it, not make a junior edition. It's not like a factory store version. It's the real deal that chefs use. Wow. Super beautifully made, but for the home kitchen. So we have knives, cutting boards. We just launched a full set of kitchen tools. So it's 11 kitchen tools. You could literally take your drawer of shitty, toxic, black tools, which you should throw away anyway. Yes. Dump it out and replace it with our full suite. The way we developed that was by going and surveying chefs all over LA and saying, what are the top tools you used? And we took all of that, we consolidated it, and we trimmed it down to these 11 tools. It's like fish spatula, a ladle, a whisk, scissors, or we call them shears.
Yes.
So each one of them is a tool you need and nothing you don't. It is like the core essential of the kitchen.
I need this. That's awesome. And is it all like what are the materials?
It's silicone and metal.
Okay.
Silicone and stainless steel. Perfect combination. There's no flavor attached to it. It's totally non-toxic. It's also super bulletproof. Like they are beautiful tools with a little gold end cap that has an ampersand on it, and they're two-toned. So, for the ladies and men out there that like some color, there's a gray, a green, and this like beautiful rust color.
That's so fun.
But more than anything, they work.
Yes.
Right? Like we were flooded with all of these brands during COVID that were Instagrammable. Right? It was like the Instagram sensation of kitchenware. And I looked around and I thought, wait a second, all these people don't even cook. All these brands aren't even founded by people that have been in the industry. Like we've been around for a decade.
Yeah.
We should be making the tools that people need at home and not just selling them random stuff because it looks nice in an ad. It's like you want to get stuff like Le Creuset, like All Clad, stuff that's going to last forever.
Yes.
We are here to be a heritage brand. I don't want to be a flash in the pan. I don't want to be trendy. I want to be awesome in 20 years.
Right.
That to me is success.
Totally. Tell us about some of your pinch me moments because, now with the TV show and just you have your hands in so many different things and you're spinning plates, if you will.
There's a lot of plates in the air. We have Kitchen Glow Up season 2 just wrapped, which was really awesome. And it's kind of an extension of what I did in Hedley and Bennett land, where I would bust into people's kitchens and be like, I'm outfitting everybody.
Yes.
Now I'm just redesigning everybody's home kitchen through the lens of a chef. And so you can see it on Tastemade and it's really fun. They're like quick 23-minute episodes, but I basically overhaul someone's kitchen in 2 weeks and make it be legit. Everything is labeled.
Right.
Everything has a home. We zone it out. So you have a prep, cook, serve, store area. Like there's actual areas for all your stuff. So it's not like, oh, where's my cutting board and my pan and half my pantry's in one cabinet. My other pantry has all the other stuff. Like it's not like that.
There's no junk drawer. It's,
no. Yeah. So that's been an amazing, fun adventure. I have the book Dream First, Details Later, which is really like a brain dump of all of the shit storms that I've gone through to grow Hedley and Bennett and make it what it is today. And it's not even the full journey. I'm still on that journey. Like it was interesting writing a sort of memoir business book when I was still on the path.
Right.
And I've learned even more since writing it, realizing, gosh, this is a wild thing. And nothing is finite. Nothing stays the same. And if you try to hold on to something to stay the same, like it will change whether you change it or not.
Right.
So you got to make the change.
Exactly.
Or life is going to make that change for you.
For you. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And your book just came at the right time for me. I was drawing parallels with my own life. And before I get into one of them, I do want to share how one of the pinch me moments that I loved reading about was when Chef Benno gave you Thomas Keller's Keller Blue apron. I feel like that was so ominous.
It was huge. That was really special. Yeah, that was, for those of you that don't know, Jonathan Benno worked for Thomas Keller for a really long time. He was one of the most prolific chefs in the country. And he basically gave me this blue apron that Thomas had given him. There were only 2 in the world from Hermes, or 3 in the world. And he was like, hold on to this until, there's a time in the future, and then you give it back when I open my restaurant. It was like we had these dreams that we were sharing with each other. Me of amazing. Growing Hedley and Bennett, and him of having his own restaurant. And I eventually gave it back to him. And it was this really beautiful moment of like, here's your cape of honor.
Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. To have a mentor / friend that you're growing with and share that with, that's really, really beautiful. I think if you can find someone in your life who can be that, and if you can be that to someone, like, do it.
And the best way to find people like that is to be that for others.
Yes.
Like that is how we built our Hedley and Bennett community. It was us showing up for other restaurateurs and chefs.
Right.
And being there when they needed something, supporting them, showing up at events, doing all the things to just be a part of their ecosystem from a genuine place.
Right.
And then the love became reciprocal, and that love became friendship. And community is about friendship.
Right.
That's really what it boils down to. So if you have a brand and you want to have community, show up for people and be their friend. Don't think about them as a transaction. Think about them as a friend and how can you help them.
Yes.
And maybe you helping them doesn't include your product, and that's okay.
Right. It could be totally different. Yes. Oh, I'm so with you. Back to school season is here, which means it's time to label everything. From water bottles to jackets, Name Bubbles makes it easy to keep track of your child's belongings with durable, dishwasher-safe, and laundry-safe labels. My 3 kiddos love choosing their own designs. Think unicorns and dinosaurs and more. And there are packs for daycare, school, sports, and even college. New this season, the custom clothing stand. It's a quick, no-sew, no-iron solution that works on everything from onesies to swimsuits and lasts for over 40 washes. It's kid-safe, customizable, and even comes with refill kits for long-term use. Name Bubbles is mom-owned and proudly made in the USA, helping families stay organized for over 15 years. Check out my podcast interview with the founder, Michelle Brandress, from the archives. Visit namebubbles.com and use code MOMSENSE15 to receive 15% off your order. Happy labeling! Tell us about your motherhood journey and how that's shaped you, because it's going to have this, you're going to show up in the world differently. It's almost like an Ellen 2.0.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
The person I am now is definitely very different from Ellen pre-children.
Yes.
I've said it's taken like motherhood to stop me in my tracks and readjust and recalibrate the way I show up in the world. And I think I was just like kind of a force without a nozzle. And I've had to really learn how to focus my energy in the right places because I don't have endless time anymore. I think about how much time I had before I was a parent. And I was like, what the hell was I doing all day? I was doing a lot, to be fair. But now if you have an hour while someone is sleeping, your child is sleeping, you're like, I have 49,000 things to do. Where do I start? So I definitely feel like I've allowed myself the permission to slow down a bit and to look at things with the lens of how much value versus effort am I going to put into this thing and should I do it?
Yeah.
Whereas before I was like, I will do everything at low effort, low value, high value. I will do all of it. And now I just don't
You're
have.
more selective.
Yeah, I'm more selective. And that's a gift because I needed that. I needed that control inserted, and it's been inserted by my kids.
Totally.
Simultaneously, the guilt of not being with them all the time definitely weighs on me, but I think that's a female thing because my husband's like, bye.
Yeah.
I'm going to work. And I'm like, how do you do it in that way? I work from home full time.
Yeah.
But it's still,
I love that.
I'm like hiding in my office thinking, I should go nurse my son right now. And then I miss the nursing window because I'm on a call and then I feel bad about it. So that's something that I'm still navigating even now. And I just have so much respect for parents. Like it's a wild thing to sign up for this.
It's true.
But it definitely has helped me make the world not about me, but about others.
Absolutely.
The world doesn't revolve around your goals only. It actually revolves around a lot of different people and a lot of different things. And that was a big change.
Yes, it's a huge wake-up call. I'm so with you. And I love how you've built this empire and you are doing it from home and you are doing it while those pockets of nursing and pumping time, it's just so real. I think a lot of, especially moms who are listening, are going to feel so seen by you sharing that. Yeah, and I had my own kind of journey when I launched this podcast 6 years ago. During COVID, it actually revved up because everybody was home and listening. Wow. And I had 2 2-year-olds and a 1-year-old. One hack that I did was because I knew I had to record once a week or like batch record. So we would take them to the park at like 10 a.m. was considered early because, they're up at 6:30.
Right.
So it was like 10
it's been a full
to
day.
Like 12. Yeah. Like we are going to be out like rain or shine and get some fresh air and run around and slide and monkey bars and all of that. Then they would be so wiped out. We'd eat lunch at the park. They'd be so wiped out. I'd put all 3 of them in their car seats. I'd drive around extra just to like make sure that they all
settled.
Synchronized in how they fell asleep. We'd move them to the cribs and I would have a 2-hour window to record.
Wow.
And then it was like, all right, once they're stirring, because they would be like out that when they went to one nap and it was like that one long 2.5-hour like afternoon nap, that's when I was like getting to work,
Wow.
And it was great. I look back and I'm like, that's kind of awesome. You make shit work, and then that hack of like being in the car seats is how I did that.
I mean, that's amazing. And it does take crazy hacks like that. It really does.
Yeah.
You have to be creative and inventive to make it happen.
Make this routine happen. Tell us about the kitchen hacks, because I feel, I'm sure so many families can relate to this, especially parents with young ones. Mealtime is stressful.
Totally.
And the whole cooking to kitchen cleanup, kitchen is closed, is a fucking process.
I know.
How can we make this process
a little less painful?
Yeah, and joyful. Something to look forward to. You have to do it every day.
Yeah.
There's 3 meals a day and the snacks.
Brutal. It's quite the hamster wheel.
Yes.
It really does feel like it's endless.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
I'm like, wait, I just fed them.
It's like I have in the kitchen again.
To like load the trough again.
Right. And the dishwasher. It's like, how
Yeah.
many times are we loading a dishwasher?
Yeah.
But this mundane activity, if we can do a reframe with you.
Yes.
Where we're like, no, we've got this.
Okay.
I'm cool with this.
For one, you should definitely watch at least 1 or 2 episodes of the show, because it'll give you just 1 or 2 hacks on how to set up a kitchen cooking station, right? So that's the area directly next to your stove where you should always have a cutting board out with a little cloth under it so it doesn't just move around.
Okay, yep.
Have olive oil, vinegar, salt in a open container.
Ooh.
Like, don't even cover it. Just have it so that you can pinch and add. Never add salt with a freaking tablespoon. You will oversalt your food every time.
Wow.
Pinch
Smart.
with your fingers. Feel it like a grandma.
Okay, yeah. And
Yep. So olive oil, vinegar, salt, pepper, lined up like in a little thing.
Yeah.
And then you have your cutting board, and that's right next to your stove. And that's a station. In a restaurant, every cook has a station. This is your station. Have it there so you have everything ready. And then what I highly recommend for parents is do some large pots of stuff. I do a lot in a Dutch oven, which is basically like a Le Creuset, mega dish. We always have beans and rice. I have rice in our Zoji Rushi rice machine, so it's always warm.
Right.
And it sits on our counter. We make like 3 cups every other day, basically.
Yeah.
And if you're ever in a pinch, you make a bowl, right? You pull out the beans. Beans can be cooked in a Dutch oven. They take 0 effort. You fill a pot with water, you add a bay leaf, salt. That's it. It's done. Cook it for 2.5 hours while you're running around with your head cut off, chasing your children. Just put a lot of water in it and just keep it going till it's brothy. Like, those beans should be falling apart. So like 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Good beans. And if you soak them overnight. Yeah, Instant Pot is also great. Yeah. I just find it too much of a to-do to put the lid on and do the whole thing and da-da-da-da. Yeah. So I just do the Dutch oven. But yeah, obviously that. I also love the Breville Jewel oven that's just like a top that's on your counter.
Okay, nice. I haven't seen this. Okay.
So much of our food, and it's a mini oven basically. Nice. But it's a pro-grade mini oven.
Right.
And because it's tiny, you just fit everything in there. So I'll roast veggies on the weekend, and then I have them and I combine it. So then basically what I'm making on a daily basis is just the protein. Right. Because I have all the accoutrements, like I've got the rice and I've got the beans
and the veggies.
And then the veggies, you got to add them on and then you condiment it up. And that's it. And then in your fridge, you just have the core basics that I know all parents do, right? Yeah. Like tortillas and things that are vessels to make the food a little bit more palatable. And I incorporate things like liquid amino acids, and I put bone broth instead of water when I'm cooking my rice to add protein.
Yes.
If you're if all they eat is mac and cheese, then cook it with fucking bone broth because then they get the protein from the liquid. It's just like it's like
smart.
sticking it and jamming it in. Also, I found when I take Nico to the farmer's market or grocery shopping, he's a lot more invested in what we're making versus just being like, here, eat this, shove this in your face. When it sucks for you, it sucks for them. Just imagine being on the receiving end of a spoon going into their face every day. Like, that sucks. So the way I've kind of gotten around that is in the morning, I'm like, all right, we're making muffins or we're making pancakes or whatever. And I let him make a big ass mess.
Yeah.
Just shit everywhere. It's going to be a mess anyway.
Okay.
It's not like I do this every single day, but by making it a sport where it's like, hey, Mama and Nico are going to cook together, we're getting into this fun. It's enjoyable, and he thinks it's a game versus it being this tedious task. Like, we have to do the work anyway. Why not teach them and slow the fuck down? Yeah. Like, slow down so your child can learn. Just because it's old and boring to you doesn't mean it's old and boring to your kid.
Right.
Like, my son goes to Waldorf, and so everything is just about like rhythm and slowing things down. And I feel like I've learned to regulate myself better since he's been born, because I am constantly telling myself to slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah, slow it down so they can absorb.
Right. And the stewardship, I think, one thing that I noticed is when your kids are your sous chefs and you give them a cutting board and like they're cutting the tops of the strawberries or they're cutting their cucumbers, they're more likely to eat that stuff.
100%.
It's a sensory thing. Yeah.
And they see where it started and how it ended, and they feel like a part of it.
Yes.
Also, gardening, like putting farm beds, huge. Huge. You pull that carrot out of the soil, it's mind-blowing.
Right. Now you want to taste it. Yeah.
You're like, let me try this. Let me crunch it. Wow, it's so crunchy, delicious. Or the farmer's market, eating all the food along the way. I mean, Catherine does such an amazing job.
Yes.
Catherine McCord, our friend who introduced us, Weelicious. She takes her kid to the farmer's market every Sunday. That child eats more cucumbers than anybody in the world. Like, it's just like, you did it. You've done it. You did it, girl. Yeah, it's amazing.
And then what about like cleanup? I mean, we kind of have a situation where it's like, okay, I have to return their plates to the sink, do a wipe down. But like, I want to have it be as organized as like 6th grade camp, kitchen patrol. Like, I want that. Can we achieve that at home?
We are not there yet.
Okay, yeah.
We are definitely not there yet.
With the older kids, I want to say like, 5 and up.
In Waldorf land, what they do is they literally have the kids go to the trash and it's the same spot in the same place every time.
Yes.
And they scrape out the food and then put it in a little basket next to it. So making your kitchen be friendly to kids, to their size, is a big thing. We have all of their containers at their height. Right. So we put it low. And we do have containers that don't break. So we use only these Korean stainless steel plates.
Smart, yes.
And then that way everything is unbreakable, but it's also not plastic. So it's a little bit of like, don't talk down to them, but put things at a height that makes them feel like, hey, I'm a part of this crew. I'm not just like this reject.
Yes.
And that has helped us a bit in the cleanup because they're a part of the system. They're not just like a guest.
Now let's do a little food for thought, rapid fire. So someone you'd love to have dinner with.
Ina Garten.
And when you had to eat your humble pie, you have a whole chapter called Humble Enthusiasm. But it's like when you in your life were like, I had to eat that humble pie. Move on.
There was a chef that I used to work for at one restaurant, and she was super intense. And she sent me home one day because I was disagreeing with her on, she just kept yelling. And I was like, well, just explain how to do it. And she was like, go home. She basically kind of air quotes fired me without firing me, just said, go.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a humble pie moment. But because that happened, it led me to being able to work for Joseph again at Baco, his next restaurant. And that was really the beginning of Hedley and Bennett. And so it was a big, giant humble pie that led to something great.
Who's in your kitchen cabinet? Meaning the sounding boards that you turn to when you need advice on just all things life.
Definitely Catherine McCord. Mm-hmm. Her and I go on these walks around the Rose Bowl, which is right by our house. Aww. And we just like dump it all out on the ground, and we talk and we walk, and it's awesome because you get your exercise in, the endorphins are rolling, but also you're we're being really honest with each other about what's happening. So this other woman, Valerie Gordon, who's amazing, this other gal, Courtney Perkins. So I have a few ladies that are just Shilpa Shah, the founder of Kuyana.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've just like accumulated along the way, and the list is long. I've named 4, but there's like 30. And I just, depending on what is happening and what it's related to, I reach out to them. And I'll say this, even still, there are times when I feel quite alone, quite lost, and I have to just kind of find it in me to say, I need some help.
Yeah.
And there's this one woman, DPK, who's absolutely amazing. I made her our board chair.
Oh.
And that was a really big moment for me in my journey, not being that role anymore, but having somebody that I could learn from. And she's been such a force, and she's older than me, and she's like in her, late 50s. And to have people that have seen it all and know what's around that corner is a beautiful gift.
Yes.
Because it's not just about like everything you're learning today, but we can learn so much from people that have already gone down the path.
Right.
So again, slowing down just enough to listen. What happened? How did you do it? Teach me. Be willing to get help and be willing to learn at all stages of the game.
What's a favorite dish that your abuelita made?
Oh, picadillo, 100%. It's just classic ground beef, carrots, potatoes, lots of, tomatoes and cumin. And it's just this delicious, very homey, humble dish that, you could be wealthy or poor. Everyone enjoys it.
That's amazing. A mom sense moment. And by that, I mean, a time that you trust your intuition. That's really what the show's predicated on. And I feel like we got to lean in when that voice is going.
When Nico, my first kid, was 2 years old, I sent him to school and I dropped him off, and he was crying hysterically every day, every drop off. And I would stay, and then I would leave after an hour, and it was just crushing my soul. And I could tell he was being crushed. And I made the decision to keep him out of school until he was 3. And it was the best thing we could have done. And I felt really uncomfortable that I was kind of going back on school. I was like, everybody sends their kid at 2. And then it turns out not everybody does. And it's actually, there's all these studies that, their nervous system gets all out of whack if you're sending them and they're not ready and they're not emotionally connected to you enough and they need more time with you. And so we just made that commitment to ourselves. And it wasn't until he was 3 that he started, and we dropped him off. And after a day, he was great.
Wow.
Versus weeks of going through this struggle and finally being like, this is not it. This is not right.
Yeah, it's not the time. I love that. I actually had Erica Commissar on the show, and she has a book called Being There. And it's why prioritizing motherhood during the ages 0 to 3 matters. And she talks about this. They have to be ready, and oftentimes it's after 3. So I'm so glad you listened to your inner voice about that.
Yeah.
Something that, one of your kids did to make you laugh lately.
Bodhi, my 1-year-old, he's a fearless little warrior. And the other day I put him down supposedly at my in-laws' house here in the West Village. And I'm sitting in the living room, and there's these beautiful French doors, and the 2 French doors just like push open, and the curtain pushes aside like an adult is coming out. And Bodhi just like walks himself out of the room into the living room. And I'm like, the hell are you doing here? Like, he had been put down, and he let himself out in a way that it's like he owned the place. And it was like 30 or 45 minutes after I'd put him down. So I for sure thought he was already passed out.
Right.
And there he was in all his glory. And he does this all the time to us in just different ways, where he just shows up and he refuses to go down. I'm like, okay.
What's lighting you up these days? I feel like you have so much cooking, pun intended. And so, what is it?
I've been reflecting a lot on Kitchen Glow Up. It's something that I've wanted for 10 plus years, and I've been manifesting it in my head. And to have just closed out season 2 is really special, because I took something from my head and then I made it come to life with so many people that helped make it happen. And it's really, really special. And I'm trying to just be like, hey, good job, good work. Go team. Yeah. We did that. Don't forget. Don't just plow on to the next thing. high five yourself.
Right. Oh my gosh. Bask in this.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I think, we hear so much about manifesting and everyone's like, I want to manifest this. I have a desire for such and such. How about we stop and pause for all that's actualized?
Totally.
Because that's happening too.
Yes, exactly. Manifest away, but also appreciate all the things you already created.
Yes.
Yeah.
And lastly, a mantra that you live by.
One I love is they're not bumps in the road, they are the road. It helps me not resist what's happening, but instead just let it be the wave that's washing over you and don't fight the wave. Like, get rolled around in the wave, but then you're going to come out the other end because you didn't resist it, right?
Yes.
And you're going to go through it. And I don't know a single person in my life that isn't extremely successful or not successful that hasn't been through bumps. So it's like they're not exclusive to one person. Your wealth does not protect you from the bumps, right? And so it's just about changing the perspective on it. So I believe they're not bumps in the road, they are the road. And I think about that all the time. I just finished reading Matriarch by Tina Knowles.
Okay.
Beyonce's
oh my gosh,
mom's
yes,
book.
yeah, of course.
It's amazing. And her whole book is just all of the shit she went through to make Beyonce become the woman that she became. And it is a saga. And so you just think about stuff like that and you're like, okay, nothing is handed to anyone. And everyone is going through so many bumps to get to their thing. And you're only seeing them when they merge out of the water as this heroine, but you don't know that they've been under the water drowning for 40 years to get to that stage.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, this brings me to one more question. This is my last question for real. How do we make that time as especially busy parents to enrich our souls? And I'm referring to how you taught yourself resilience when you climbed Mount Fuji and you ran marathons. And as parents, we don't have time for that. Your book helped me through this because I just this weekend performed an Indian classical dance. I trained since I was 5.
Wow.
I stopped at 17, 18. Kuchipudi is the name of the dance. And then, married, had kids, didn't really, dance was had sunset. I just did a recital with my 8-year-old daughter in Kuchipudi. She's learning. I trained with the teacher and we both were on stage. I'll show you pictures.
Oh my gosh.
But I felt like that was a little mountain that I climbed because I'm 42 now and I hadn't danced that art form in 25 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I got a chance to enrich myself in that way. Not that I don't have enough work on my plate or home life, family life, Yeah. I felt like, my 17-year-old self and I don't know, even better because I've gone through so much shit and life.
Oh my gosh. It's a reminder
how do you make time for that?
Learning, I think, is an incredible gift. You relearned something that you had when you were younger and to be like, hey, I can keep learning now, even if I'm 42. That's amazing. And for me, it's actually learning too. I'm about to go back to culinary school, which is insane and crazy. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'd been giving some talks at ICE, which is a school in LA, and I loved it. And I love sharing just the shitstorms that I've been through because hopefully other people can learn from them and be like, hey, I identify with her. This Mexican woman who figured a way out that's a different way from other ways, right? And so when I was there, I looked at the school and I was like, I never went to school in the US. I never got to go to culinary school in this traditional way. What if I went to school and as a 37-year-old, but as a kid mentality of I'm going to learn, but as an adult with all this seasoned experience and all the war wounds under my belt and just a fresh perspective, I think it's going to be really cool. And I'm really excited.
Incredible. Oh my God. I'm so excited.
I literally start in a few months.
Yeah. So
I'm going to go do a morning class, a nurse Bodhi, go to class, and then I'll come back and I'll do my job at Hedley and Bennett and then carry on with all the other things that I'm doing. But just the sense of you can always learn and there's always more to learn and you can always increase your salary. You can always increase everything you can do in life by learning.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, this was such a joy. Ellen, thank you so much for being on That's Total Mom Sense today. You dropped all these gems, and we really, really appreciate you. I feel like we need to keep this going. So this is just the beginning for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and for everyone listening. At Ellen Marie Bennett and at Hedley and Bennett on Instagram. Obviously, go find our aprons too and all of our kitchen gear and get some zones set up in your kitchen, people. I'm telling you, it'll make your life easier.
We'll link it all in the show notes. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of That's Total Mom Sense. You can listen to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for That's Total Mom Sense. You can learn more about my guests by logging on to www.thatstotalmomsense.com. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active on social media. My handle is @KanikaChaddaGupta. And if you have ideas for show topics or guests you can't wait to have on the show, write to me at thatstotalmomsense@gmail.com. And lastly, please rate, review, and subscribe to That's Total Mom Sense if you haven't already. Thanks for being in my tribe.